Hello everyone. I've been asked to put together a little TED type show or slideshow or demonstration of something that I'm enthusiastic about, and it's a way for you to get to know me a little bit better. And so what I've chosen is my RC helicopter and plane hobby. So let's just start out here with my very first helicopter. This is an Esky helicopter. It was a trainer. It's called a coaxial helicopter because it has two sets of blades. Nice helicopter for learning with. I got this back in 2008 and kind of got hooked on it. My next helicopter was a kit, and the kit has been built up from basically a bag of nuts and bolts and the different parts, and I had to buy all the electronics for it and pretty much assemble what you see here. This plane here is really fast. It's got a very fast motor in it, and it's for doing all kinds of aerobatics. And I'll have a little bit of a clip for you to see on what I'm talking about when I say aerobatics and the sports side of the hobby. I'm pretty much into the building part. I do know how to fly these and fly them pretty good. Not as well as some of the things you're going to see in the clips coming up, but I do okay. Anyway, this thing here is represents about $700 worth of parts, and it's a nice plane to work with. I've done a lot of custom work on it, and that's really what I like to do, is the custom stuff. After building that, I also used a computer to program this radio, and it came with Chinese instructions on how you're supposed to do this, and nobody could quite figure it out. I was one of the first people involved in this fly sky, so I built a manual for it and I put it online. And it just so happens that now those Chinese companies that sold me these kits here are including my files, my PDFs on how to set up this radio. I've advanced beyond that radio now, and I've got one of the top of the line Spectrum radios. This is what I use for all of my planes and helicopters, and it's pretty nice. It has the ability to fly 30 different helicopters or planes or boats, and I like it. It's a good radio. One of the most common helicopters is this guy here. It's a pro version. His center of gravity is a lot higher, which allows him to go and fly upside down and do all kinds of neat aerobatics. And I've built a lot of these for a lot of different people all around the world. I've built people's helicopters from Brazil all the way to Florida, helped people in Korea and all over the world. I get emails all the time asking me how to do this and how to do that, and I've stopped building them because it just takes up so much of my time, and I've got other things that I'm doing that also are involved in this hobby, but I'll show you those here shortly. But for right now, let's take a look at the difference between the sports side of this hobby and the builder side of the hobby. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about some of the other things that I'm doing. Okay, stay tuned.
Zwei 15 Kubik Viertakter zu betreiben. Übrigens schön detailliert an der Oberfläche. Andreas Gietz hat mit seiner Firma.
Jawohl, und los geht's.
Genießen Sie jetzt die Fliegenflugspiele.
Da brauchst du nicht warten, bei dem kommen keine Flammen.
On those videos that you just seen, you'll see that some of those sports helicopters are pretty exciting. This is one here. This isn't the same size as what you were seeing demonstrated. This is a 600 class, and it's one of the favorite ones for me to fly. It is very powerful, and I built this one up from a line, and it represents about $2,000 worth of machine here. But it's a wonderful aircraft to fly, very stable, and you just can't beat the sound. Next I'm going to show you is my planes, and be right back. Welcome back. This is my latest plane that I've started working on. Actually, this one here is ready to fly. And he is a drone. He has a camera in the front here, and I can control that camera. I'll show you a little bit about that later on. But it allows me to fly it with some goggles on, and I can actually peer out that camera from down on the ground and fly this just like as if it was I was sitting in the aircraft itself. I've done a lot of work with this one here. It's chock full of the latest electronics. It's got a return to home capability, a little computer in here, and GPS, got a couple GPSs. It's got different sensors on it. I've completely revamped the whole back end of this thing to give me a much bigger motor and support. So this ought to be a good screamer. I've got the flight lights out on the wings and the tips, so it ought to be a real nice plane to put into the air. These things start off as kits. So like this one started off just like this. It had little parts. All these different parts have to be put together to create this. And yes, that is foam. But you'll notice it has this carbon fiber look to it. It's a little add-on that I put to it. And since I used to work for NASA and the space shuttle in particular, I try to give it the same kind of motif as a shuttle. So that's my Go Discover, and I'm looking forward to springtime to actually get this guy up into the air. I'm going to go get another plane for you. Now this is my first plane. It's a Bixler, and it's basically a powered glider. What I like about this one is it can really carry quite a bit of weight. One of the things that I want to do with this is actually start using a camera in the front. So I built this mechanism here that allows me to pan and tilt this camera that's on top, and that way when I'm flying it, I can look through these goggles right here and actually watch where I'm flying and fly the aircraft. So this will actually go into this compartment here. This comes off. And we'll just put this right down inside here. I just like gadgets. That's my thing. That's what really has got me intrigued about working with the RC, is I can play around with the different new technology and actually do a lot of cool stuff. And I've just always been that kind of person. I like to play with new technology. Which I have that all wired up right now so that you can actually see it. But this is actually a very nice little camera on here. At 600 lines, and it's one of the favorites for all the pilots out there today. Moving on, let me show you a little bit about drones. Let's just put this down here. This is a drone. You've heard of all the different talk about drones and drones being in the wrong places, or in my opinion, they're just in the wrong hands. There's rules on what you can and cannot do with these, and this one here is my first drones. It has a little caddy on the bottom here that actually stabilizes, so as you're flying, the camera will stay steady and take nice pictures. Down in Las Vegas, I was actually playing with my grandson, and he had the video goggles on, and he was watching this coming at him, and I was playing with him at the playground. He really enjoyed that. What I want to show you with this guy right here is the technology and how fast it's changing. I got into this because I like building these things and playing with the new technologies. This is the brain right here of this guy. This is why all these people and these kids are out there buying drones they can fly on. Really, it's this that's flying this machine. And it's a very powerful piece of device right there. I'm going to be replacing this one with the latest technology, which is this little tiny chip. And it's going to replace this brain right here and do everything this big device can do. This one can do, and I can program this one. I can hook it up to my PC and change its parameters, make it even more powerful. So that's why I'm into RCs, is because of all the technology and all the cool little gadgets and the constant improvement to technology. I hope you've enjoyed this, and if any one of you want to get involved in RCs, you let me know and I'll get you started. All right, thank you.